Hey, I'm Pops. Welcome to Throwback Tuesday. And yes, this film, 1991, it came out this week. And you can go all the way back to the beginning of Talk Hard, right? Tremors. And we ended up interviewing director Ron Underwood. And he also directed City Slickers. And I'm sure I said some of this in that video. You can go back. I'll try to remember to put the link in the description of this so you can go back to that where he shares some stories about the production, what was would like to move cows and what Jack Palance was like and all that. But City Slickers for me, I was in a film class at the time and we had to write a paper or an essay. I'll say an essay because it was like 5 pages or so. It wasn't like a paper. It was like I had to write 25 pages, right? It was like 5 pages or so on editing. But you had to go to a theater. You had to go to a movie. And I was like, what? Like, I'm a poor college kid. Like, listen, us going to the movies is like, we're gonna pick and choose our battles. And back then you could sneak into theaters, guys. I mean, just be honest. But you know, you had to. Okay, what we're gonna do? Okay, well, City Slickers was coming out, so I wrote it on the editing of City Slickers. Now, I will say it was an easy softball because the early part of the film was like 2 pages worth because of the way they handled the bull run, the way they cut to large screen shots and close-up shots, and then you end up with this, the pacing is increasing with the speed of the edits and all of that. It was like 2 pages of stuff to talk about, introductory paragraph, get all that. But this film, I snuck back in to see a second time a few days later so I could write this paper, right? And I just had a blast. I mean, isn't there something to be said for can we just have a good time? I mean, comedy is already kind of a lost thing. And then you have the situation with westerns, sort of a lost thing. And you end up with a place where you're like, wait a minute, I can have a comedy and a western in a short amount of time and with some really great cast, with all some great story arcs. Like, this is a 2 hours out the door. Like, I think it's less than 2 hours long. Billy Crystal is great. He has a great story arc, right? Bruno Kirby, great story arc. Daniel Stern, even Jack Palance has a story arc because he is sort of like going out on his last hurrah. And you sort of have that one scene with Mitch about the love of his life. You could have been with her, could have been the love of your life. And he's like, she is the love of my life. We had Supergirl, right? We have Helen Slater. Bonnie has a story arc because she's going to try to get back out there again. She's going to try quite literally get back in the saddle again with Phil, right? You also have the Ira and Barry, right? The ice cream stuff. You have the dentist, rejuvenating their relationship. I mean, I'm lucky to find a story arc sometimes in a TV show that has like 6 or 8 episodes. So you're talking about 5 to 8 hours of content. A 2-hour movie done in 1991 has story arcs down to like the 5th and 6th character. The cow has a story arc. The poor little Norman has a story arc. Like, oh my gosh, it is such a fun film. It is full of laughs and gags. It is sweet and full of some messages and things like that. I think that are also, very good and very valid. Right? There's a lot to be said for you're turning 39 or 40 or whatever the case may be. Right? You feel that way. By the way, my mom used to. It used to be a joke in my house too. Unrelated to City Slickers, my mom would always call on my birthday. Now, I don't remember her calling at like 6 in the morning because I was born at, she's told me this story over and over and over again, just like that scene in City Slickers. You were born at 5:55 in the morning, Brandon. And I remember, I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Same, it was the exact, so my mom did that. And I remember that happened multiple times. I don't know exactly why that stopped or when it started even exactly, but I do remember getting that year after year for a little bit. So let me run through the trailer a little bit to see if some other memory prompts of things I should talk about, because it's one of those films that kind of deserves its own thing. And I love the fact that Mitch has like an odd job that is hard to explain to kids. I sell air, right? And then you have like the construction guy coming in, is played for gags or whatever. Um, because so many times you end up on a career path. You have a degree, even you end up in something completely different. And a lot of times you carry these regrets and all that pain and anguish of what brings you happiness and joy, the appreciation of what you have, and not focusing on what you don't have. Good stuff, right? Um, and just these great shots that really just communicate that midlife crisis feeling that you have with people on top of you and all that. And Billy Crystal stand up basically being interworked about, having the hairs and all that kind of crazy stuff, right? Tons of gags. They're going to go do the cattle drive. And again, I had that link there for Ron. He talked about them moving cows and then like the actual use of cowboys and moving the cows and all that. Really great stuff. Great gags, great moments. And just there's so many great moments. I love the fact that there's the hat jokes. Spitting on the spittoon, like he'll take the shirt too. Hear that guy here.
I'll pay for that shirt too.
Oh gosh, Curly's the best.
Seen in my life? Did you see how leathery he was? He was like a saddlebag with eyes.
It's funny how that so many of these jokes are in the trailer, but I don't think I felt. You know what it is? It just hit me. In this trailer, that joke, the saddlebag with eyes joke, they changed the audio to overlap with different video. So even though the joke is in the trailer, when it's presented in the film, it's different. And I bet our brains and stuff don't connect and respond to it the same way. Like you can laugh at the trailer and think that's funny. And then when you see the movie, it's still presented in a new way. And that's good. I bet that's one of the reasons that some of these movies didn't get spoiled for us like they do now. Just had that observation watching this trailer. There you go, folks. Look at that. You're inside my brain. Good luck with that.
Arnold, I'm losing you. We're going behind a butte.
I can't tell you how many times in my life I have quoted "going behind a butte," and people that I'm talking to have no idea what I'm talking about. City Slickers. There's the grinder. Good close-ups footage of cows, by the way.
Wow, something's
Where are they all going?
cooking the cattle.
I never ever got sick and tired of seeing this scene where you have them all, and it's very subtle. Like Bruno Kirby is wearing basically like the underwear with like the butt flap in them. That's bright red. Oh, this is the scene. This is the scene where they didn't have certain shots and they had to redo it with him going in and delivering Norman. Yeah, lots of great lines. Them talking about baseball, I think, is great. Oh, here we go.
Oh, God, hit the trail.
You know what the secret of life is? No, what?
This,
Your finger?
just one thing.
What's the one thing?
That's what you gotta figure out.
There you go. There you go. So, just a fun movie. Celebrating the anniversary this last week, 1991. Wow, man, it's hurting me. It's hurting me. These movies, so many good ones, and so many anniversaries this time of year. Summer movies, right? So many of these to get to. So, if you haven't watched it, maybe it's time. You guys tell me what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Pops.
Yeah. Rap Circle is finally here. I know everybody been waiting.